Hi, this is Ralph Zuranski, and I'm on the phone with Bob Silber. He is the leading internet attorney and has also sponsored some internet marketing conferences, one of which I had the opportunity to go to down in Florida over 2 years ago, and that was where I first met Ted Nicholas. And Bob is probably one of the greatest people on the internet with the highest level of integrity I've ever met, and I just really appreciate you, Bob, taking your time to answer the heroes question. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and thank you for saying that. That's very nice. I'm looking forward to this interview.
Well, let me start off with the first question. What is your definition of heroism?
Ralph, heroes to me are the ordinary men and women and younger people that try to make the world a better place in some way. And certainly age or celebrity are not necessarily characteristics of heroes. And race and creed are definitely not characteristics. I think the true test for a hero is how they treat others who can do nothing for them. And I believe that that's a definition that, applies to those people in the world that are heroes that are, really not getting paid for doing it.
Does that mean sort of like that it's a true definition of agape love, where you do things without expectation of return?
Exactly.
How do people become heroes in your mind?
I believe that when people have unselfishly and positively touched another's life, again, doing something for others, for someone who can never repay you, that's how you become a hero. That's a characteristic of a hero.
In our society today, there's a lot of discussion about people that are heroes, that like the firemen and the policemen and the soldiers that risk their lives on a daily basis, but they're getting paid to do so. I would always recognize them as special heroes, but do you think that people that aren't getting paid to do great things for other people, do you think that that's a different type of heroism?
I think it is. I really do. Most of the time, the acts of heroism are only known to the hero and the recipient when it's done by someone other than someone who's getting paid for doing it. So if you're doing it from your heart and you live your life that way, again, those acts are only known to you and the recipient.
Where are heroes located?
They're everywhere, aren't they, Ralph?
I don't think they are in every family.
Heroes can be anywhere. The workplace, schools, the community. If you leave the comfort of your house today and you go outside, you will see them just walking down the street.
Isn't that the truth? And that's the whole mission of the In Search of Heroes program, is to get to people realize that there's heroes right next door that are doing things that are great, that are changing people's lives for the better, and they're not getting the recognition that they deserve. So how do you recognize those heroes that you see?
Well, too often you don't recognize them. Heroes come in all ages, sexes, shapes, and sizes. And, the main trait is heroes don't act because of recognition or rewards. Heroes act because it is in the makeup of their soul. It's in their hearts. And, those type people are the true unsung heroes of the world.
I really agree. One of the heroes that we interviewed, Gregory Allen Williams, who is the cop on Baywatch, he was also a real hero because he saved a man's life in the L.A. riots, an Asian gentleman that was being beaten to death in the intersection, and he risked his life to go out there to get the guy out of the car. And just as the mob was going to kill him and the Asian guy, a Mexican guy stepped in and took the beating so that Mr. Williams could get the Asian guy to a hospital. And he said that there's a little bit of good in the worst of us and a little bit of bad in the best of us, and he thought that any person, no matter how good or how bad, could actually, in one moment in time, make a difference for the good in somebody's life. Do you think that that's a good definition of a hero?
I do, and that's an amazing act of heroism that you just described. That somebody that is not getting paid for it, that just comes forward and risks their own life to help others. I mean, that's certainly the ultimate act of heroism.
Boy, you know, I totally agree. And how are you making the world a better place?
I try to give back on a daily basis, Ralph, for all the blessings in my life. Beyond that, I also consciously try to put a smile on the faces of everyone that I can. And you can do that with little acts of kindness as you travel through your day.
Yeah, well, that's so true.
A simple thing like taking the time to recognize the other person you come in contact with, recognize that they have feelings too, can really help. If you're in line at a grocery store, everything today, it seems like is done robotically. I mean, fast food, the grocery store line. You go and the cashier's just ringing things up, and when they're done, they say, "Thank you for shopping here." Without any meaning in it. But I mean, if you look the person in the eye and you say, "How are you today?" Get their attention and treat them, like they are another human being. I mean, that's so important. And I think you break down that robotic rut that people get in, and you get back to recognizing the humanity that's in all of us.
Yeah, that's so true. So you're a real believer in random acts of kindness?
Yes, I am, and the random act can just be the little things like I just described.
Well, you've had a pretty interesting life. I know that you traveled with the rich and the famous, years ago, and it took a lot of courage to pursue new ideas for you, didn't it?
I think that it may for most people. I think in that regard, for me, I may be a little dysfunctional. It seems like I pursue new ideas to a fault. I don't personally have a problem with pursuing new ideas. I mean, I can take something that I'm relatively safe in, and just drop it and go on to something else. And a good example is that I was a lieutenant on the police force, and I decided all of a sudden I wanted to go to law school, and just quit, and went to law school. So pursuing new ideas for me, I probably do it too much when I shouldn't.
Well, you've had some pretty interesting clients in your legal practice over the years, haven't you?
Yes, I've had some very interesting clients. I mean, I think the most interesting are the so-called organized crime figures. Living in South Florida down here, we've had a lot of those, and my law partner and I at one time represented a large segment of the organized crime.
And that was in their legitimate business interests?
Well, the government, if they're doing something legitimate, the government may look at it and say it's not legitimate, and come after them. But you see those type people in the movies, like The Godfather and The Sopranos on the television. But it's funny because in real life, some of the comments that they have are just, you feel like you're in a movie sometimes. So they were very colorful characters, and Actually, at one point, my law partner and I represented Anthony Accarda, who was, he's deceased now, but he was the government said he was head of the organized crime family in Chicago, and just various organized crime figures. And you meet them, and of course, they're just, when you're not involved in what they do, they're just like other ordinary people. So, that's been very interesting to me.
That's interesting that you say that. One of the other internet heroes that I interviewed, I think it was either, Joe Vitale or one of the other ones, and he was saying that from his experience that, people that are involved in the mafia, that they consider themselves to be heroes, that they are the good men because they're providing society the things that society desires, and they looked at everything that they did as basically they were against the world, and that they were just normal people, and they felt that that was their mission in life, and they considered themselves good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, people rationalize in all kinds of ways. Growing up down here in South Florida, where I live, at one point I worked for 3 years for Meyer Lansky. And his business that he had, it was a hotel in Hollywood, Florida. And he was there every day, and I interacted with him every day, and that was like one of the most interesting people that I've ever met. I mean, I have some funny stories that I can tell you about at some other time. It's rather than this interview, but it's just amazing. I mean, these people that you just walk down the street, and you would look at them, and they're just like anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just remembered who was the person that had made that comment that most people consider themselves good, and it was David Garfinkel. And so David is quite a writer, a copywriter, and so he was the one that made that statement, and I think that it all ties into what Gregory Alan Williams said, is that everybody considers himself a good person no matter what they're doing, because they're able to justify what they do as far as the good that it does for them and for their family members.
That's so true. I mean, when you said that, I had to chuckle a little bit. I mean, listen, everybody, I think, is the same in that, we never see ourselves as other people see us. And, it's amazing when you start talking to somebody, and you'll say, well, you're like this, or you do this, and they just don't see it.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Well, dealing with other people, I mean, it's important to be an optimist. Do you think that's true?
I think it is true. It is important, I think, for your mental health. I mean, I try to be an optimist no matter what happens. And it just makes you happier, your mental health is better, and you can go through your day-to-day activities, life activities, in a better frame of mind.
Well, how important do you think it is to keep a positive view of setbacks, misfortunes, and mistakes? Because most people, everybody has a mix of those during virtually every day.
I think it's very important. I mean, I do it. We all make mistakes. We all make bad choices. But that's part of life. And I think if you treat it as a learning experience and learn from it and say, okay, I made this choice or this mistake, and here's what happened, and you're able not to repeat it.
Yeah. Well, what is your perspective on goodness, ethics, and moral behavior, the things that sort of guide people's lives?
I believe in the old rules, treat others like you want to be treated, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I mean, apart from the religious connotations, I just think that they're, good behavior rules to live by. And I'm a big believer in, karma that came from Hinduism and Buddhism religions. And I'm talking apart from the religions, Ralph. I'm just a big believer in karma that, when you do good, it comes back to you tenfold. And that's certainly been true in my life.
So you believe in the golden rule that do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, rather than the gold rule, whoever has the gold rules.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Well, do you have a dream or a vision that sets the course of your life?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be on the police department. And, I worked towards that, and I got on the police department and progressed, from a detective to a sergeant to a lieutenant. And, that was really a dream I had and something I wanted to do. And I did it. I was lucky to accomplish that. And then there came a point when I decided I would like to be a lawyer, and that was, another dream that I had in my life, and I, set the wheels in motion to do that, and left the police department, and, went to law school and was able to do that. So I've been lucky in that I've been able to accomplish my dreams in my life.
Well, when you're on the police department, you'd probably have a better perspective on what real heroism is. I'm sure that when you're doing that particular job, there were life-threatening instances that occurred in your line of work almost daily, wasn't it?
Yeah, there are. I mean, something happens every day, life-threatening situations, and you do the best you can to help people and get through it and help the people get through it. But as you pointed out earlier, you're paid to do that.
Yeah.
But, there really isn't enough pay to do it if it's something that you don't get enjoyment or gratification from, certainly. So even though you're paid, it's something that you enjoy in the way of helping people when you do those acts.
Well, how much discomfort did you experience in the pursuit of your dream?
Well, to become a police officer at the time, the discomfort you experience is they torture you for many months going through the police academy and beating on you and teaching you all kinds of things. So that, is just an ordeal that you have to get through, I guess, like boot camp in the military.
Yeah.
And, law school is just mental torture. I mean, they go out of their way to mentally torture you, and they do a rather good job of it.
Sure they do.
Yeah.
Being a lawyer, there's a lot of lawyers' jokes that are circulating around the globe. How do you feel about those as a lawyer?
Oh, listen, I think you can substitute any profession, or just about any profession, in the lawyer jokes. But listen, some of them are really funny.
Yeah, that's true. Well, do you think for some lawyers that they're appropriate?
Listen, we have, bad people in our profession, just like police officers have bad people in their profession. The world is made up of people, and you're always going to have people that do the right thing, and you're going to have people that, don't do the right thing. So, yeah, there certainly are bad people in the legal profession, and, just like any profession, they're the ones that you hear about.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it's sad, and, we're highly regulated, and the bar associations that regulate lawyers, come after those type people. And weed them out. But, just in the sheer numbers of the lawyers in each state, just by the sheer numbers, you're going to have a percentage that, shouldn't be lawyers.
Yeah, that's true. Well, how important do you think it is to believe in your dreams that they'll actually become reality?
Well, it's very important, or else you're not going to, act on them. I mean, you have to believe in them in order to, go forward and start the wheels in motion to accomplish your dreams. Otherwise, they're going to be just that, dreams, and nothing's going to happen.
That's true, and in a daily life, it seems that everybody has doubts and fears of failure, fears of financial failure, health fears. How do you overcome your doubts and fears?
Well, I overcome it. I'll give you a real-life example. Is when I left the police department, I was a lieutenant, making good money, and I had to go to law school and just basically retire from that job and use the retirement money to get into law school. And I'm thinking, well, what if, I don't make it through law school? I've lost my other job, and, there's a fear of failure in all of us, I think, or at least a thought, well, what would happen if I did fail? And the answer is really that, that's the worst that's gonna happen, is you're not gonna make it through law school, and so you start over. I mean, it's short of death or bad health. I mean, you just start over. So, once you realize the worst thing that can happen, I think that helps you to overcome, the fear.
A lot of the other heroes that I've interviewed, they believe that the more you fail, the faster you achieve success. What do you think about that?
Well, if you don't fail, then you're not doing anything. You know, Ralph,
yeah.
In the internet marketing world, that you might try 10, 15, 20 products before you find one that starts generating money for you.
That's true.
So, it's just something that you have to do. And listen, I mean, all of the great scientists or the great inventors in the world, I mean, like Edison, I mean, how many times did he fail in trying to invent the light bulb or any of the great inventions that Edison had? I mean, if he had given up after the first failure, we'd still be in the dark age.
True.
I think.
That's true. Well, what do you think about the internet industry? I sort of look at it almost like the auto industry, where most people don't really know what the mechanics are doing to their cars and whether they're being charged a reasonable amount when they go to pick up the car. You hear so many people at these different seminars that are promising the moon, where you can be sitting on the shores in the Caribbean island drinking pina coladas while money is just piling up in your account. You've been on the internet circuit for a pretty long time. What do you think about that?
Well, it seems like whenever I'm on the beach down here in Florida drinking pina coladas, the money is not pouring in. I think it takes work in order to make money. I mean, there's no magic pill, and I think most of the reputable marketers will tell you that. There's no magic wand that you wave. It takes hard work, but if it's something you enjoy, that's the important thing. And I enjoy internet marketing. So, no matter how much work that I do in order to generate money from it, it's work that I enjoy. So that's the most important thing.
So it's important to do what you love.
Exactly.
I know that all the different conferences that we've been to together, one of the things that really seems outstanding in you is that you really have a desire to serve others. It seems to be a great source of joy for you.
It is. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy, getting together with people, and if there's something, that I can do to help them, I'm happy to do it. And listen, that's not necessarily an unselfish act, because I experience enjoyment from doing that.
That's really true. That is just one thing that I've seen. That's one thing that's really endeared you to me is just your sense of humor. You seem to always have a wry sense of humor, and in the face of serious difficulties or problems, that always seems to come out. What is your source of humor?
I think just basically life in general. I've been blessed with a good sense of humor, and somehow I'm always able to see the humorous side of problems or difficulties that come up, and I think laughter is a big cure for depression or the blues. So if you find the humor in a problem, you're almost always better off.
I believe that's true, especially the silver lining in the dark cloud. I know that since my parents had catastrophic illnesses and I'm taking care of them 24/7, it seems that hyperbole, or just taking things and exaggerating them to the max, that people in difficult health situations find that appealing. It really makes them laugh when they see the difficulty of their situation, but just the absurdity of having a bad attitude on what's happened to them.
No, it's true. I think it's very therapeutic.
Why are heroes so important in the lives of young people?
I think heroes, Ralph, are important in the lives of all of us, not just young people. Certainly with young people, if you're able to, just show them how to be, kind to other people, or the benefit of being one way over another way, of helping people. We all learn from, those around us, and, the young people maybe more so. So having good role models, having heroes in their life, certainly is a positive influence, and, a big benefit to them.
Do you think that young people look at people's actions more than they listen to people's words?
I don't know the answer to that, but that certainly is a good question. If you're around little kids or little children, they certainly watch everything that you do. And if it's something that you do that is bad, like smoking or something, you see them trying to emulate it. So, it's important to keep that in mind, that when you're around the young people, to, be the best person you can.
That's true. One of the reasons for the Heroes program was to get kids to realize that it's really the moms and the dads and the teachers and next door neighbors, the grandmas and grandpas, and the people that actually take time to get to know them and help them go down a better path in life. What are the things parents can do that will help children realize that they too can be heroes and make a positive impact on the lives of others?
I think the main goal as a parent is that you should be a positive role model. I think that's the most important thing. As I said before, we all learn from those around us, and certainly, we look to our parents and their actions, and, we pick up the behavior that they do, whether it's good behavior or bad behavior. So as a parent, you just need to make sure that your behavior is good, and you know, when you're around your children, that you're making the good choices. We all make poor choices at times. You know, it's unfortunate, but we have abuse in families. We have alcohol in families. We have drugs in families. And if that's the case, then, you know, it's much more difficult for the child growing up. But at some point, you know, if that's the case, then they're going to have to learn how to break the cycle and realize that there, but for the grace of God, go I.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bob, I really appreciate your time. I know you're extremely busy defending those in the internet marketing that have good days and bad days and make good decisions and bad decisions. And I was just wondering, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, I'll leave you with this, Ralph. One of my favorite quotes is by Martin Luther King Jr., and he said it so eloquently. He said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven played music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived the great street sweeper who did his job well. You know, Ralph, I love those thoughts. Mm-hmm. And you can apply them to anything. You can apply it to being a hero to others in your everyday life. When you see someone in trouble, in pain and difficulty, remember that they are brothers and sisters too, whose burdens are ours to bear also. And remember, each one of us has the power to make the world a better place, Ralph.
Boy, that's so true. Well, Bob, that's just very profound, and I know that's going to inspire a lot of people. And you know, I just have to say that your interview just continues to make me think higher of you than I already have before.
Well, thank you so much, Ralph. I appreciate that.
And again, thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you. Bye.